Hey everyone, and welcome. So, India's union budget, it's this huge, complex document that basically sets the economic course for, over a billion people. But what does it actually mean for us? Okay, let's cut through the jargon and break down the numbers and the big ideas behind the 2026-2027 budget. We're going to do it all in the next 5 minutes. Every budget has a theme, kind of like a North Star. And for this one, it's all captured in this one phrase, straight from the official documents, Viksit Bharat, balancing ambition with inclusion. So what does that really mean? Well, it's telling us the goal is a developed India, a modern India, but not one that leaves anyone behind. It's about aiming high while making sure everyone comes along for the ride. And this isn't just some fancy slogan, right? This is the core idea, the philosophy that's supposed to connect every single rupee in this budget. So let's do just that. Let's follow the money and see where it's coming from, and more importantly, where it's all going. All right, let's start with the basics. The easiest way to think about the budget is like a giant national wallet. And before you can figure out what to spend, you've got to know what's coming in, right? So this first part is all about the government's income. Okay, check this out. This breaks down where every rupee the government gets actually comes from. You can see some big expected chunks here. Income tax at 20%, corporation tax from companies at 19%, and GST is a solid 15%. But that biggest slice of the pie? Yeah, that one might surprise you. Yep, that's right. A full 24%, almost a quarter of all the money coming in, is from borrowings and other liabilities. This is basically the government taking on debt to pay its bills. It's the single largest source of funds for the entire year. And what's number 2 on that list? Well, that's us. Income tax. It makes up a solid 20% of the government's total income. It's a pretty powerful reminder of the huge role we as individual taxpayers play in funding the entire country. Okay, so now we know where the money is coming from. Now for the other side of that national wallet, where is it all going? Let's dive into the spending side of things and see what the government's biggest priorities are. The total amount they plan to spend is just staggering. 43.57 lakh crore rupees. I mean, it's a number so huge, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. But it really gives you a sense of the massive scale of the government's plans and commitments. And that spending, it's definitely on the rise. As you can see from this chart, there's a clear, steady climb over the past 3 years. This isn't just numbers going up. It reflects a growing economy and the government taking on more ambitious projects and welfare programs every single year. Now, with a wallet this big, every single spending choice is a huge deal. So the big question is, where are the big bets being placed? Which departments are getting the lion's share of this massive pile of cash? Well, this table gives us a pretty clear answer. The top 3 ministries getting the biggest allocations are finance, defense, and education. Now, seeing the Ministry of Finance at the very top with that enormous number might seem a bit odd, but there's a really important and, frankly, unavoidable reason for it. And here it is, the big reveal. That absolutely massive number under the Ministry of Finance, it's not for new roads or schools. Over 14 lakh crore rupees is set aside just to pay the interest on loans the government has taken in the past. Just think about that. Our single biggest expense is just servicing old debt. It's bigger than our entire defense budget. So we've looked at the income, we've looked at the expenses. Now, how do we grade the budget? How do we know if it's healthy? Let's look at a couple of key numbers that economists use, almost like a financial checkup for the nation. First up is something called the fiscal deficit. It sounds technical, but honestly, it's simple. It's the gap between what the government earns and what it spends. This number is absolutely crucial because it tells us exactly how much more money the government has to borrow just to make ends meet. And for this year, you can see the government is trying to shrink that gap just a little bit. They're aiming to bring the fiscal deficit down from 4.4% to 4.3% of our GDP. Now, it's a small step, for sure, but it's a clear signal that they're trying to tighten the belt and focus on a bit more financial discipline. Okay, the other really important metric is capital expenditure, or what you'll hear called CAPEX. Now, this isn't just spending, this is investing. This is the money that builds stuff for the long term. Highways, ports, railways, the physical assets that will power our economy for decades. And on this front, the government is going big. They're pouring nearly 10 lakh crore rupees into CAPEX. This is where you can really see the ambition part of the budget's theme. It's a massive bet on building the foundation, the roads, the bridges, the digital networks, for that Viksit Bharat, that developed India of the future.
Whew, okay. We have flown through a ton of numbers and big ideas. So if you're going to walk away from this with just a few key points, what should they be? Let's boil it all down. First, remember the vision, Viksit Bharat, balancing big goals with making sure no one gets left behind. Second, spending is growing, and it's dominated by two things, defense and those massive, unavoidable interest payments. Third, there's a little nod towards fiscal discipline by trying to trim the deficit. And finally, and this is a big one, a huge, huge push towards future growth by investing in infrastructure.
So there you have it, the 2026-2027 Union Budget in a nutshell. It's really a story of a balancing act, right? Juggling huge ambitions for the future with the heavy weight of debt from the past. It's walking this tightrope between investing heavily in tomorrow while trying to be careful today. And that leaves us with the big question. With these priorities now set in stone, what changes do you think we'll actually see in the economy this year? Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.